Hello, beloved. So, still continuing from our last episode, there are four particular times where, God responded to his people, giving them the answers to solving every problem that this life presents. Like someone said, life does not give you what you desire, but what you deserve. That's actually what it is. So, but we're looking at the prescription that Dr. Jesus gave us, the prescription to life, and that is the just shall live by faith. And the implication of that statement is that the rest will die without it. Anyone that is not living by faith will die without faith, will be eternally cut off, and you don't want that for your life. That is why we're digging deep. We're doing a deep dive into this study to completely understand what faith is all about. Faith is action, taking on the word of God, sustained by the confidence that what God said he has brought to pass. What God says he has fulfilled. God has fulfilled all his promises. Everything, every promise of God, written in the scriptures has been fulfilled in faith. If you will come into faith, you see that God cannot lie. Let every man be liars, but let God be true. God can never lie. Every single thing he says. In fact, the word of God says that his words does not come back to him void. He comes back accomplishing every single thing he was sent to do. That is God for you. So you can't hold him for lack of performance. No, no. So that is why we're looking at this. Habakkuk, the prophet, kept on, asking God questions and complaining about things that are happening. Where is God? What is God doing? And God answered, the just shall live by faith. The just shall live by faith. The only way to escape this decadence, the only way to escape this evil, the only solution, the only way to solve this problem is that the just live by faith. Any other way, there is no other alternative to God. There is no alternative to God. God completely wants you to be co-dependent on Him, to be dependent on Him. We can't be independent, being created in His likeness, in His image and His likeness. No, we need Him. We need Him. You see some people. There's this songwriter that wrote, "I need you, oh Lord. I need you every time." We need Him. We need Him to survive. We need His presence. We need His nature. We need everything that He's got. We need His word for us to survive these perilous times, because perilous times are upon us, and we need His word every now and then. Now, after Hebrews chapter, let's go to Romans, the book of Romans, Romans chapter 1, verse 16, talking about, Paul was given a very sharp rendition about him not being ashamed of the gospel. Look at it. Romans chapter 1 verse 16, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for the Jew first and also for the Gentile. For in it, the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. That is the prescription here. The just shall live by faith. There is no other way to live other than to live by faith. And 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7, we live by faith and not by sight. We live by the word of God. The word of God is our standard. The word of God is our lifeline. We live by faith and not by sight. And here we're looking at, that in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, and it is written, the just shall live by faith. There is no other way to live other than by faith. Now let's look at another place. This the second time is being mentioned, I think, in Galatians. Galatians chapter 3. We can equally look at it. Galatians chapter 3, verse 11. But that no one is justified by the law in the sight of God, it is evidence, for the just shall live by faith. This is the third time. Three times it's been mentioned that just shall live by faith. When something is said once, second time, third time, you got to take it seriously. And with capital, there's still another time it was repeated. Something that is being repeated over and over again. You have to take it very seriously. Let me read it again. But that no one is justified by the law. The law cannot justify nobody in the sight of God is evidence, for the just shall live by faith. So your justification is by faith. Abraham was justified because of his faith in God. That's what it is. All right, let's look at the next place. Oh, I love this place. Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10. Okay, let me run it to Hebrews chapter 10, verse okay, let me start from verse 32. But recall the former days in which, after you were illuminated, you endured a great struggle with sufferings, partly while you were made a spectacle, both by reproaches and tribulations, and partly while you became companions of those who were so treated. For you had compassion on me in my chains, and joyfully accepted the plundering of your goods, knowing that you have a better and an enduring possession for yourself in heaven. Therefore, do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he who is coming will come and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith. But if anyone draw back, my soul has no pleasure in him. But we are not of those who draw back to perdition, but of those who believe to the saving of the soul. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that marvelous? All the things I read. Faith helps us to fulfill the will of God. Faith was given to us so that we can fulfill the will of God. The will of God for our life. There's a will, we must fulfill. And faith is our lifeline. Faith is our connection to fulfilling that will of God. Remember, Habakkuk was told that it's a vision, write it out, make it plain on tables, let everyone that reads it run with it. Run with it. Faith brings with it. By faith, we understand. So faith is equally brings knowledge. That is why you can't be ignorant living by faith. It's not possible, because by faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. So that those things we see were not made by things physical. No, they were made by things that are not physical. They were made by things that are invisible. There's a spiritual, invisible being that is active. The spiritual, of course, controls the physical. Whatever we see here, is just a physical thing, but there is something always behind the scenes. And God continues to work behind the scenes on our behalf. So take this, let's keep diving into the depths and the wealth, the wealth of this wonderful scriptures. The just shall live by faith. The rest will die without it. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.